Okay, welcome guys. Thank you for watching this video. What we are going to show you today is how to successfully set up your open surgical graft simulator from lifelike tissue. Alright, so we have here all the elements that are needed for setting up your open surgical graft simulator. The first one that we have here is the torso that by removing this type of metallical clamps can be opened as such, and this gives us access to the interior of the cavity where we are going to be placing all the tubes and surgical graft components. We have this reservoir which is going to be filled by water, so we can run our open surgical simulator by pump. Then we have this kind of bifurcated by wide, let's say, flow that is going to be matching every single one of the femorals. This is the tube that is connecting the Y connector to the reservoir. We will see it kind of later. You got the pump, the two adapters for the pump. Then you got two large connectors for connecting the pump to the reservoir and the pump to the model. And then we got these kind of two sets that are one for the neck of our abdominal model, and the two common iliacs connectors. And you got two sets in order to make sure that you are able to run the exchange of the simulator in parallel. Very important, if you get lost the instructions for the setup, you can always check the diagram, which is helpful, and then you're gonna get the open graft model, the surgical graft, some ties for connecting the surgical grade model to the pipes, sutures from the propylene, and you are going to receive as well a set of surgical instruments for scanner. That's what what we are going to be needing. So, as you have seen in the picture that kind of has been shown, we have been laying out all the different elements that are needed for setting up your simulator. So we are going to start by connecting the different types of models. We're going to start with the femorals. We introduce this component here through the left common iliac. We are going to leave it just in place for connecting later on our silicone infrarenal aneurysm, and we do the same on the right common iliac. As such, as so. Then at this point, what we're gonna do is to connect the two iliacs to our bifurcation by pressing the tubes until the gray component has been completely introduced on the bifurcated. Then what we're going to do is to connect this long tube from the bifurcated all the way down to our reservoir, so we can provide inflow after we have finished the circuit. Alright, let's keep on going with the reservoir. What we connect is one piece of the reservoir with the in portion of the pump. But in order to connect the pump, what we do is we are going to put these adapters from the pump so we can connect the pump over there. Same thing on the output, we connect the output on the adapter, so we are able to connect the connections here. We put this tube here, connected with this adapter, and just to complete the circuit, final portion, we first put the the tube on the proximal aspect, connected, and then we are all set in order to start putting our infrarenal abdominal aneurysm model, silicone model. Then we just have to slide this component on the proximal aspect and this component on both iliacs. Like this. Stretch it a little bit. And at this point, what we're going to do is to start putting some zip ties around the necks in order to make sure that we got good compression. So get some ties and start doing it like that. I would recommend to have two, just to give extra fixation, like our infrarenal trio device with double level of fixation, right? Same thing. So we just tight two on the proximal, and then we're going to do one here on the distal. All right, so the final thing that we have to do is to connect the two renals. Sometimes you gotta peel off the renals in order to have a clean cut. So what you do is just, once you have the clean cut, kind of introduce the renals inside these adapters that you got on the left side, on both sides. So you push it all the way down, like so, and then once you have done that, just kind of tie these renals as well with some zips to make sure that the pressure doesn't kind of blow the model apart. We have done that with the left renal. We are now doing the same thing with the right renal. And again, we sit. Disconnect this pane, and we're ready to start our simulation. All right, guys. So as you have seen, the pump is working. The water is flowing. We just wanted to finalize for kind of sharing with you a couple of tips. The first one is that you might need to refill your reservoir after you have the pump has been doing a full cycle. The reason why is because all the water that is going to be occupying the volume with the pipes is going to leave your reservoir very empty, and you might need to get another second load in order to run the demonstration. And other very important thing is that if you want to remove a little bit the residual air that you may have in the model, you just kind of tilt your model a little bit north, right? So we get all the bubbles out of the model. Very important aspect of the execution of the simulation is that once the fellow or resident or the trainee that you are running the simulator for clamps the aorta with one of the surgical instruments, it is very important that you guys switch off your pump, because if we keep pumping, the pressure that we are going to be placing into the neck is so high that the silicone model cannot kind of take it, and it's going to burst. So important, as soon as the delegate is clamping the aorta, then you gotta switch off the pump. With all that, we hope that this type of tool is being helpful for you guys, and we look forward to hear your feedback on the use of this model in your. All right, kind of couple tips for when you are setting up or dismantling your model. In order to for set it up, for dismantle the model, sorry, very important, when you are pulling out the tube, if you try like that, you're not going to be able to make it. What you have to do is to push this gray, darker gray plate down. This kind of releases the dog, and then the tube comes up pretty quickly. Now, a very important thing when you are setting up your model is that when you introduce the pipe in these connectors, you gotta make sure that all these gray, the lighter gray component that is inside the pipe, it's all the way inside the valve. So you gotta see, you don't have to see that kind of light gray. It has to be fully inside. Let me show you again. I'm just, again, pressing the plate to take it out. This is how it's gonna come. Push it. Don't leave it like that, otherwise it's gonna leak. Just keep pushing until you got the full lighter gray inside the connection. All right, just to another tip for executing on the open surgical graft simulators, the things that we kind of recommend is that while you guys have one group working on an anatomy, if you have more than one group that needs to go through, is that you already start preparing your next anatomy. And the way how you do it is that we are providing you with this kind of a small 3 tubes. Remember, one larger for your proximal, let's say, aorta, and then 2 smaller for the common iliacs. And then what you can do is just start getting connected all the components with your seat tight, so you have that nice and ready. And as soon as they have finished with the previous simulation, then you just perform an exchange on the tubes, which makes much more easy than trying to put the aorta and tightening the zips every time.